Alice once thought that her adventures in Wonderland were already strange enough, but she never imagined that this time her journey would be even more thrilling and perilous. A sudden darkness engulfed Wonderland, casting a terrifying shadow of war over its once charming inhabitants. The Red Queen and the White Queen were no longer the supreme rulers of the land. A mysterious and powerful invading army had descended upon Wonderland, wielding massive mechanical armor, devastating energy weapons, and merciless tactics. Within days, they had conquered most of the realm. At the helm of this army was the Shadow King, an armored warlord whose face was shrouded in black mist. His arrival plunged Wonderland into terror. The once friendly residents were either imprisoned, enslaved, or mercilessly crushed if they dared resist. At that moment, the White Rabbit burst into Alice's world in a frantic panic. "Alice, we need you!" In a whirlwind of light and shadows, Alice was pulled back into Wonderland. But this time, she was not wearing her familiar blue dress. Instead, she donned a sleek, futuristic silver-white battle suit, its surface covered in intricate armor plating. A glowing energy shield was embedded into her left wrist, and in her right hand, she held a blade that could slice through space and time. "This time, I won't run away." Alice tightened her grip on her weapon, her eyes burning with determination. Wonderland had become a battlefield. Hatter led the underground resistance forces. The Cheshire Cat used its eerie abilities to slip between enemy lines and gather intelligence. The Caterpillar Elder became their guide of wisdom. Even the White Queen had shed her regal grace, donning battle armor and wielding a frost blue sword, vowing to defend her kingdom at all costs. The war had begun. Alice's first battle took place in the Clock Tower Plaza, which had been transformed into a massive enemy energy core facility. Towering black spires pulsed with a crimson glow, and hundreds of mechanical soldiers patrolled the area. "Go!" The Mad Hatter threw an enchanted hat that morphed into a golden portal. In an instant, Alice leaped through it and landed in the heart of enemy territory. The enemy reacted swiftly, unleashing a barrage of laser fire. Alice dodged and rolled, activating the propulsion system in her suit. She soared into the air, spinning mid-flight, and swung her energy blade in a dazzling arc, cutting through the enemy forces like a shooting star. But this was just the beginning. She fought her way forward, slicing through enemies as explosions and battle cries echoed through the plaza. After hours of relentless combat, Alice finally reached the enemy's central control room. She raised her energy shield and unleashed a blinding surge of light, obliterating the control system. With that, Wonderland's sky was restored to its natural brilliance. However, this was merely the first battle of the war. Of her success, the Shadow King dispatched his most formidable force, the Death Knight Legion, to eliminate Alice once and for all. The final battle took place before the last stronghold of Wonderland, the White Queen's castle. Black warships blazed across the sky. Monstrous mechanical beasts descended from above, and atop the castle walls, the Shadow King stood, gripping a soul-devouring spear, his gaze cold and merciless. "You're just a little girl. Do you really think you can challenge my reign?" Alice didn't answer. She simply raised her blade. Boom! The battle erupted once more. Alice and the Shadow King clashed in a duel that shook Wonderland to its core. Every strike sent shockwaves through the land. Winds howled, and reality itself seemed on the verge of shattering. Alice's armor was battered. Blood trickled down her forehead, but her resolve remained unbroken. Burning her last reserves of strength, she struck. Her blade pierced through the Shadow King's chest. With a final agonized roar, his army crumbled into dust. Wonderland was free once more. Alice stood amidst the battlefield's ruins, gazing at the shattered remnants of the Dark Throne. But just as she thought it was over, the sky split open once again, revealing a vast abyss from which an even greater darkness surged forth. This time, the true ruler behind the Shadow King had arrived. The Void King. A wave of pure terror swept through Wonderland. The force of his presence alone sent warriors flying, shattering even the White Queen's sword. You have won once, but can you win a second time? Alice took a deep breath, tightened her grip on her blade, and stood her ground in the heart of the darkened Wonderland. The Void King's arrival fractured the very fabric of the sky. Reality itself crumbled around them as time and space twisted under his power. An overwhelming force surged toward Alice. She felt the crushing weight of his presence, but instead of retreating, she activated the final form of her battle suit, Hyper Mode. Her silver armor transformed into flowing streams of energy, and her blade burned brighter than ever before. Wonderland will never bow. With those words, she launched herself at the Void King, clashing with the otherworldly entity in a battle beyond imagination. Every strike reshaped the battlefield, tearing the land apart, rewriting the very rules of existence. As Alice began to falter, the people of Wonderland gathered behind her. The Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, the White Queen, the Red Knights. Together they poured their remaining strength into Alice, uniting their hopes into a single force. We fight together! Alice's energy surged beyond its limits. Her blade became an infinite cascade of starlight. With one final decisive swing, she cleaved through the Void King's core. A cataclysmic explosion erupted, shattering the darkness. As the light faded, Wonderland was reborn. Alice slowly descended onto the battlefield, exhausted but victorious, watching as her world was restored. The war was finally over, and she had become the true guardian of Wonderland.